So I've been meaning to record this video for about a week now, and I finally got a chance to fire up the camera. But I just wanted to take a moment here and talk about how I think Alexa Bliss, or more importantly, Lexi Kaufman, is one of the greats in professional wrestling. To start off, for clarification, I'd never watched a single minute of WWE television until May of 2019, so I can appreciate that I have a different perspective from others when discussing the ins and outs of professional wrestling. Majority of what I do know has been the result of a massive 2-year game of catch-up on the WWE network. As far as the women's roster, the first woman I saw was Bayley, and I was immediately won over by her entrance and her presence. It wasn't until the June 3rd, 2019 episode of Monday Night Raw that I even saw or heard of Alexa Bliss for the first time, but on that episode she was mostly used as support for Nikki Cross in a singles competition. As that summer went on, that evolved into a tag team. I really enjoyed watching her in Bliss Cross Applesauce, but I just didn't really know much about her beyond, hey, she's Nikki's tag team partner. So there was a lack of perspective and investment on my part. It honestly wasn't until the Fiend stuff back in September of 2020 that I was like, oh, I need to start paying attention to her. This is very captivating. But even more so, it wasn't until the build to WrestleMania this year that I was like, okay, I can't get enough of this act. And started doing a deep dive back into her history, and what I uncovered was just mind-blowing and exhilarating, and really took my appreciation of her talent to the stratosphere. And I can easily consider myself a fan for life now. There's 3 points I really want to address first and foremost on something that I guess not many people either realize or keep forgetting. Number 1, she was the first woman in WWE to win both the Raw and the SmackDown title. First. Number 2, she's the first woman in WWE, along with Nikki Cross, to have gotten the tag titles twice. And also, another thing I thought was kind of interesting, which a lot of casuals, and I would say even a lot of people who are in the IWC who aren't really thinking about it, whenever they debuted her theme song, Blissful, had, that keyboard riff, and then it kind of went into almost kind of a funky disco bass line. After that, then they bring out with Spiteful, which also used the keyboard riff, but then they technofied it and made it a lot more, house sounding. And then they came out, after she did the whole Fiend thing, they came out with The Fury. Which was even more of a further remix of Spiteful and pushed it even further. And now they've come out with her newest theme song, The Evil Is Mine.
The evil is mine.
It's really interesting. It's really subtle. I mean, you almost have to really listen for it. But that same riff is also built into the Evil Is Mine.
The evil is mine.
And they say there's no long-term storytelling in modern wrestling. I mean, they debuted that song, 5 or 6 years ago or something? And they're still finding ways to build upon the original blocks of the original theme and find ways to mature and branch out from that by still kind of keeping the same character. So now that we've addressed her music, I really want to dive into what I think is her strongest asset. And that's the fact that she can cut a promo like absolutely nobody's business. Her mic skills are beyond the stratosphere in what she can do and her abilities to just command the English language. But so I wanted to jump into a couple or a few examples on that and kind of discuss on why I think that she's just a cut above everybody else when it comes to that.
Daniel, if Becky's trying to talk you into giving her a SmackDown Women's title match because of a teeny tiny little miscommunication, don't fall for it.
Miscommunication?
Absolutely. Last week, I was just trying to find out the identity of La Luchadora, so I went undercover, earned her trust, but before I can unmask her, talk to her, figure out who she is, Whatever. Becky here ruins it by attacking me.
I was going back and watching some old episodes of Raw and SmackDown and some old pay-per-views all this weekend, and I was just absolutely floored about how the way that she delivers the lines and the way she says what she's trying to convey, she's just right on top of this. I mean, there's no stammering, there's no stuttering, there's no looking at what looks like cue cards or none of that. It's just, she's on.
Rhonda, I will tell you this. Last night, you looked like you were just seconds away from making Nia tap. That victory was just seconds, no, fingertips away. You could just taste the gold. But I guess we will never know now, will we? You know what? No. Now I actually know why you're out here. Now they know why you're out here too. You're out here because you just couldn't stand the fact that last night the headlines weren't about you. Last night, ESPN did an interview with me. Bleacher Report did a story on me. Sports Illustrated, Forbes, CBS News, me. Because I'm the Raw Women's Champion, Rhonda. And you are, I'll say it, irrelevant.
And I think at some point in the future, her mic skills and her ability will be studied in wrestling schools for generations to come.
You could even have your own ESPN 30 for 30. Think about it. 30 for 30. Lights out. The failure of Naomi. It's a bit of a drama or a tragedy. But you know what? It's fine because you can bring your entire family to WrestleMania. I want them there because I want them to see the real SmackDown Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss.
I can still snatch you right here and right now into the night. So don't play with me.
Okay. Calm down. You know, I'm actually in a really good mood today. So I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna give you 1 week. And if we don't get our rematch by then, you could either give me the title or I could snatch your dignity by beating you up and down this ring and take back my title.
And number two, if we look at her in-ring ability, whenever she started off, she was a little bit rough. She was a little bit stiff. She was a little bit, green, as it were, because, she was brand new when she first started in NXT. But if you watch, what she was doing in SmackDown in 2016 and in Raw in 2017,
competition is going to get stiffer and stiffer, man.
And here, Bliss just trash talking. Face first goes Sasha. Sasha.
Oh, look at this. Standing on the hair for 5 seconds if it's applied properly.
Bliss, double knees. And
beautiful.
Let it go. 1, 2.
And again, I don't think Alexa Bliss is naive enough to have come.
It's almost the same way that Bayley injured
Alexa Bliss, along with myself, thought this was the end.
and if you also look at how she even fine-tuned and matured that into her tag team matches with Nikki Cross.
Alexa with
Tips have this incredible resume. Nikki does not. Doesn't mean well.
Oh! Tag, here comes Cross. Nikki up to the top rope. Right across the arm. And Alexa with a clothesline. Down goes Kyrie's double knees to the spine. Asuka missing wildly. Do it here. Twisted Bliss by Alexa. Legs. Nikki and Alexa with the tag team gold.
To me, it really makes you wonder why she wasn't lumped in with the Four Horsewomen. And then Daniel Bryan brings that up in an old episode of Talking Smack.
You were never NXT Women's Champion.
No.
And does it offend you at all that, they talk about the pillars of kind of the NXT Women's division, that you aren't considered in that same bracket of the Charlottes, the Sasha Banks, the Becky Lynches, the Baileys? Does that offend you?
It is super offensive because I started NXT before Becky, and Becky came up a year before me. And yes, she wrestled before me, and she has a lot more experience than me, and I respect her experience. I do. But the fact that I was just taken advantage of, like overlooked, underestimated, and pushed aside in NXT for these 4 horsewomen to come up and to not recognize me, it's very offensive.
It should be offensive because honestly, I think she definitely holds her own against Becky, against Bayley, against Banks, against Charlotte. I feel like Alexa Bliss kind of embodied the strengths of all 4 of them combined. And so I'm like, yeah, it really is weird that she wasn't put on that same pedestal and that kind of thing. But on the flip side, once she came up to the main roster, either Vince McMahon or Bruce Pritchard or Kevin Dunn or whoever, Paul Heyman, I don't know who it was, but somebody saw some definite value in her, and that's where she got the aforementioned accolades. And all that is not to say her best days are behind her. Her promo work has taken a different direction. There's more nuance behind it, but it's still just as convincing.
This is such an exciting night. Not only do I get to face off against some of my very best friends in a fatal 4-way match, but this Sunday, we all get to compete in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I'm just so excited to be back, live, in front of the WWE Universe. Plus, think about how much fun I could get into if I got my hands on that contract.
And she still commands her message in a competent and natural way. She's a natural-born communicator, regardless of the role she is given.
Randy, I know you wanted me out of your life, but I'm still here. And so is he. But you know what they say, Randy. You can't always get what you want. But tonight, I'd be careful what you wish for.
Her ring work as of late has been still as technical as ever, but there's definitely a level of slower aggression that's been more interesting to watch. Almost as if she's been under some training from like Orton or Baszler, because it's more methodical confidence in her approach. And that's brought a fresh vibe. It's easy to go, okay, it's time for another Alexa Bliss match, or whoever it is on screen. But ever since I started watching Current, she's been evolving and changing her approach. It's just less predictable now is all. And as a viewer, you can't help but stay engaged to see what she does next and what she says next. So that's really what I wanted to discuss today, and hopefully you have at least a bit more appreciation for Kaufman and what she's able to do. And this video was originally supposed to just be like a 3-minute vlog type video where I just talking to the camera, cut up the pauses and throw it on YouTube. And then when I started editing, it just started growing from there on. So you'll notice that my clothes changed a few times. That's because I had an original take and now I'm adding a additional take. But if you watch it all the way to the end, thanks for watching and peace out.